All right, welcome back to the Hill Update. I'm your host, Dean Allison, and joining me on the show this week is Jeremy Patzer, Member of Parliament for Cypress Hills, Grassland in the beautiful province of Saskatchewan. All right, so the Minister of Rural Economic Development, Goody Hutchings, got herself in trouble this week when she said the way to fix the cost of heat is to elect more Liberals. And this story went national. Let's watch a clip in the House of the Leader of the Opposition asking the Prime Minister about this.
The Prime Minister paused the paying of the carbon tax for only some people. The Liberal Rural Affairs Minister said, well, other people should have elected Liberal MPs if they wanted to be able to afford heating their home or feeding their kids. The Prime Minister has not denounced that viewpoint. In fact, he's doubling down on punishing people elsewhere. But Liberal MPs in Sudbury, Thunder Bay, North Bay, Sault Ste. Marie, they have starving constituents who are worried about the heat going out as well. Will they have a free vote on my motion to keep the heat on and take the tax off for everyone this Monday?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as a government, we're phasing out the use of coal because it's dirty and bad for the environment. We're now moving on phasing out home heating oil because it's dirtier, more expensive, and is disproportionately relied upon by lower-income Canadians who don't have other choices. Over 500,000 Ontarians, Mr. Speaker, heat their homes with home heating oil. This program and this approach will not just give them a break, but in working with the Government of Ontario, will deliver heat pumps for Canadians right across the country. I invite Saskatchewan to work with us as well. We need to get Canadians off home heating oil. That's what we're going to do.
Well, it's interesting, Jeremy. A lot of premiers have started to jump in. I know your premier has as well, talking about this thing. I think pretty much almost every premier in the country is on side with saying we want to be treated the same.
Yep, absolutely. And Premier Moe in Saskatchewan here has come out very strongly on this. And in fact, they already passed a motion through the legislature calling on or enabling Sask Energy to stop collecting the carbon tax as of January 1st. And that was unanimously supported in the provincial legislature. So I know other premiers are looking at what other options they have on this as well. But the fact that he thinks that electing more Liberals is somehow going to make this work. I mean, he's got a Liberal MP in Calgary. He's got a Liberal MP in Edmonton. They didn't get the exemption either. So it's completely mind-boggling that he would take this approach and essentially throw all of his MPs under the bus from other parts of the country where they're simply insinuating that, elect Liberals. Well, there are a couple, but apparently their voice doesn't matter.
Well, and it's interesting as well. It seems like all the NDP oppositions in the country are also lining up with the same notion.
Yes, yeah, we're seeing it all across the country. Whether it's NDP governments or NDP opposition provincially, they are absolutely on side with the idea of getting rid of the carbon tax on home heating. So it makes for a very interesting dynamic federally here, and I look forward to seeing how that vote's going to play out on Monday. Okay, well, we got one last topic I wanted to. It's just been breaking in the last 24 hours. There's the Public Health Agency of Canada wrote off $150 million last fiscal year for an unfilled contract with a vendor. And when they were asked about it, they basically said it was none of their business. Do you think the governments that are spending taxpayer dollars deserve to answer questions about their dollars? I mean, $150 million for an unfilled or a canceled contract is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. And unfortunately, the amount of waste that the current government has spent over the last number of years, it makes $150 million seem like a small amount of money because of how much waste there's been, but it is a huge amount of money. And you think of all the different things that you could do with $150 million. Liberals seem to think that they can use that to line the pockets of friends and insiders and then just escape accountability. But we're not going to let that happen, right? Our colleagues on the Health Committee have done a fantastic job, and it'll be really interesting to see how they're going to try to wiggle off the hook with this one.
Well, it's certainly examples like this that cause mistrust in government institutions. And I know we've been looking at surveys in the last couple of weeks that have shown that trust in government institutions is dropping. I know it's still higher than in the US, but they have dropped. I guess the bottom line is that the trust in the Prime Minister's office was actually one of the lowest. Jeremy, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show this week. We hope to have you again in to talk about perspectives from Saskatchewan. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Dean. Really appreciate it.
So there you have it. All different types of parties across the country in provincial governments are concerned and feel like they're not being treated fairly. So what we need to look at is what the government is proposing is we tax more. The opposition is suggesting that we tax less. Those are the two different choices. Thank you very much for joining me on the Hill Update this week.